Okay, it's decided. Let's do this. I'm so excited. Like 100,000 people and maybe a million. I went to Disney World, Orlando, Florida for 8 days, 7 nights, and slept at one of the Disney resorts, and it happened last summer. Temptations were super high, as it was the end of the pandemic, and for the last 2 years, it had been difficult, not to say impossible, to travel somewhere for pleasure. What did you say? It was awesome? Oh yeah, of course, it's Disney, you know. Well, not totally awesome actually. No worries, I will explain to you why. For the extraterrestrials among us who have never heard anything about Disney World parks, let me refresh your memory. The Walt Disney World Resort, also called Walt Disney World or Disney World, is an entertainment resort complex in Bay Lake and Lake Buena Vista, Florida, United States, near the cities of Orlando and Kissimmee, opened on October 1st, 1971. The resort is operated by Disney Parks, Experiences and Products, a division of the Walt Disney Company. The property covers nearly 25,000 acres, 39 square miles or 101 square kilometers, of which half has been used since Magic Kingdom opened in 1971. Disney World gained 3 additional parks: EPCOT in 1982, Disney's Hollywood Studios in 1989, Disney's Animal Kingdom in 1998, and 2 water parks: Disney's Blizzard Beach in 1995 and Disney's Typhoon Lagoon in 1989. You will find also more than 30 themed resort hotels, several golf courses, a camping resort, and other entertainment venues, including the outdoor shopping center Disney Springs. And I already went there 10 years ago. And with my recent visit, I wanted to compare what changed, what they added to the different parks, and what they actually removed too. Also, I wanted to check how the daily routines evolved in 10 years, from the bus picking you up at the airport or the transport to go to the different parks, for instance, the hotel or food we can find there. And finally, the biggest factor, the price. So brace yourself and your wallet too. I tested Walt Disney World Resort 10 years later.
Well, all right, let's go!
Before going too far, I would like everybody to be on the same page for the names or the titles of each park. I can hear here and there people mixing all the names, and well, it's getting on my nerves. So I wanted to restore the truth here. There are 12 Disney parks in the world across 6 different resorts. Walt Disney World also has 2 water parks, Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. There are 6 Disneylands around the world: in California, Florida, Paris, Tokyo, Shanghai, and Hong Kong. Each Disney resort has 1 Disneyland or castle park, and 4 resorts have other parks as well. And now here are the official names for each of them. The one in Florida is called Walt Disney World Resort and includes Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, EPCOT, and Animal Kingdom. In California, it's called Disneyland Resort and includes Disneyland and California Adventure. In Tokyo, it's Tokyo Disney Resort with Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea. In Paris, it's Disneyland Paris and includes Disneyland Paris and Walt Disney Studios Park. In Hong Kong, it's Hong Kong Disneyland Resort with the one and unique Hong Kong Disneyland. And finally, in Shanghai, it's Shanghai Disney Resort with the one and unique Shanghai Disneyland. So now, you are aware of that. You shouldn't make the mistake again, right? To structure this video, I will rely on the original plan I used when I was there. So I've been there for 8 days. I did 1 park each day, then went to the only opened water park at that period, the Typhoon Lagoon. And for the last 2 days, I went back to 2 specific parks where I wanted to complete my visit. And here comes the first day, dedicated to Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom. None of them, just traveling to Disney World. Because yes, except if you're living in Orlando, or let's say at a maximum driving distance of 2 or 3 hours, there are big chances you will need to go there by plane. And during summer, direct flights are tough to find, and you will probably have minimally 1 stop where you will lose precious hours for your first day. So in the end, it's purely a traveling day. I was able to arrive in the middle of the afternoon and was able to check in at my hotel, the Art of Animation Resort. At Walt Disney World, the fun is not only found in the parks. There are more than 30 resorts in the Walt Disney World complex, each with its own distinct theme. Many are considered a destination all on their own, with families opting to schedule resort days into their vacation plans. namely to enjoy the hotel pool at Disney World Resorts. You can swim in front of a Mayan ruin, watch a giant geyser erupt, or take a dip with views of zebras and giraffes. The Disney resorts are classified into 5 categories. Deluxe, priced from $359 to $729. Moderate, priced from $105 to $465. Value, priced from $183 to $504. Disney Vacation Club, priced from $424 to $1,790. And finally, Campground, priced from $74 to $319. I will just share what I know and experienced. I went to the Art of Animation Resort. I will come back to it later. Let's rewind a little bit. After a flight of several hours, I finally landed at the International Orlando Airport. At the airport, you have several options to go to your resort. You can use rideshare services, like Uber or Lyft, taxi services, rent a car or use shuttle buses, and it's this option I chose. For buses, you have 2 main transport companies, like the Sunshine Flyer or Mears Connect. I personally used Mears Connect buses. It's really easy. Right after you get off your plane, you head to the first level of the B side of the airport, and then you're good to go. Someone then scans your QR code that you received 24 hours before arriving, and then accompany you to the bus assigned to your resort. And here comes the first thing that changed, right from the beginning of my journey. Before January 1st, 2022, Disney World was offering Disney's Magical Express service for airport transportation. And it was really cool. Buses were skinned with Disney character stuff, and everything inside was organized in a way you had the feeling you were already at your resort or in the park, and that your magical day already started. Was awesome and included in your package. It's already there, so you didn't have to think about going from the airport to your hotel resort. Well, things have changed. Since January 1st, 2022, this Disney service had been discontinued, and Mears Connect took over it. So basically, it's the same service, same buses, without Disney stuff. You still have TVs inside of the bus, but instead of watching Disney's content, you will have documentaries on Disney World and other related stuff, like fun facts about Disney. Did you know, for instance, that it will take you a total of 60 years to sleep in all of the Disney resorts' bedrooms? I didn't know, and it changed my life. The impact is twofold. Less magical from the beginning and kind of boring because you simply take a random bus, and you have to spend more money for something that was included initially. We're talking about $32 for a round trip per person. Not a huge price compared to the total amount of money you will pay at the end. But if you're a party of 4, it's $128 you need to add to the final bill. Just keep this in mind. After 35 minutes of my first unfunny ride on a random bus, I finally arrived at the hotel. Disney's The Art of Animation. Disney's The Art of Animation is based on beloved animated movies from Disney and Pixar Studios. It's ideal for families, especially with their suites that pay homage to 3 Disney classics, namely The Lion King, Finding Nemo, Cars, and Little Mermaid. There's also standard rooms that are themed to The Little Mermaid. Where I was, the theme extends to the pools, including the big blue pool inspired by Pixar's Finding Nemo. This zero-entry pool has over 308,527 gallons, making it the largest pool in Walt Disney World. Large statues of Finding Nemo characters are sprinkled, and small kids will love the schoolyard's playground with its pop-up jets, gushing water, and splashing fun. Nearby, Squirt's Righteous Reef Playground is available for non-wet fun, and the drop-off pool bar is steps from the water. The other beloved pool here is the Cozy Cone Pool, an eye-catching area themed to Pixar's Cars with unique orange cone cabanas lining the pool area. And because I'm cheap, my room was a little bit far. Let me show you on the map, right here. And just to let you know, between the front desk here, next to the different bus stops and the parking lots, and my room, there is a good 10 minutes walk. I know what you think. It's not bad finally. You're on vacation. It's fine. You've got plenty of time. But it's not about time, trust me. It's more when you come back from a park after you walk 6.2 miles or 10 kilometers a day. You're going to intensively feel those 10 minutes added to your already exhausting day. You will die for being closer to the buses, but the good news is that I was close to the upper swimming pool, the Flipping Fins Pool. The Flipping Fins Pool is dedicated to Disney's The Little Mermaid anime, which has the great touch of the Under the Sea Orchestra conducted by film's character Sebastian. To come back to the distance topic, this time between the restaurant right here and my room right here, we're talking about 8 minutes. Let's say you want to buy the super mug at 20 bucks. This one here, okay? It's super cool because this mug can be refilled at the different fountains you have in the restaurant itself. Super nice, right? But let's say you want to maximize your investments and want to refill it at any time during the evening. Let's say if your room is far, you won't do it, trust me. Your legs will hurt so hard that you will just give up. So in that case, just consider if it's worth buying it, depending on how far you are from the restaurant. And before you ask me the question, you don't have any fountains outside of the restaurant. A funny thing also, I asked someone from the store located right next to the restaurant about why the heck you can't use refillable mug in the different parks. It seems to me not that hard to put some fountains here and there in parks so you can enjoy drinking gallons of free lemonade, right? And so I've been told, brace yourself, that it's because of cross-contamination. Well, I totally understand that Disney is really concerned by not bringing cross-contamination in food they're distributing across the different parks. And it's totally logical for nut allergies, for instance. Actually, you don't want some type of food to be mixed. I understand this. But, and maybe I'm totally dumb, in the specific case of bringing a Coke Zero from one place to another, what kind of cross-contamination can happen there? Given the fact that you find the exact same Coke Zero or any sodas in a bottle format and in the different parks, where the cross-contamination can occur, the only thing really happening concretely is that you have to take out your wallet to drink in parks. But in that case, can we speak about wallet cross-contamination? Not sure. Okay, so I walked for 10 minutes and finally found my Little Mermaid's hotel room. Inside everything was clean. And the most important part, I had the pleasure to sleep next to the famous Prince Eric. Let me tell you that I did beautiful dreams. Despite the bed, which was really comfortable. These are small hotel rooms, and rather than having elaborate themes and details, they have fairly cheap decorations scattered around. The floor was probably the coolest element of the room, and that isn't saying much. That's not uncommon for a value resort. But the lazy thematic effort is a little bit disappointing. I talked about it already. But yeah, these rooms are in the worst possible location at Art of Animation, farther from the main lobby than the Lion King, Cars, or Nemo family suites, depending upon the exact location of your room. This could mean a good 10-minute walk to the bus stops. A great benefit from being a Disney's resort guest is that you can enter any of the 4 Disney parks early. It's called Early Entry Theme Park Entry for Disney resort guests, and it enables guests to enter any of the 4 Walt Disney World theme parks early on any day, even if 30 minutes seems short. It's a huge advantage to start your day compared to regular guests coming to the park. With that, you can generally ride your first attraction really fast, generally under 30 minutes, even the most famous ones. And here comes day 2. After a comfortable night in my hotel room with air conditioning, the time has come to visit Disney's Magic Kingdom, to go to the different parks. It's really easy. You just have to go to the front of the hotel where you will find bus stops with continuous bus transportation to the 4 main Disney parks and Disney Springs. On a side note, they are available at each hotel. Not only Art of Animation, the buses come on average every 20 minutes, but that's only an average. With my personal experience, I never waited more than 10 minutes. Also, the bus stops are divided into separate areas. Each bus has a pre-assigned loading spot, so a bus will stop and allow boarding in a certain area based on where its destination is. The downside of the Disney World buses are multiple, and you should take them into account. First, they can get very crowded, especially at the beginning and end of park hours. Second, depending on your destination and start points, you may need to have patience. If a bus is full, you may have to wait for another one. Finally, there will often be guests standing in the aisle, and that can be uncomfortable for those with claustrophobia or allergies. But it's a free service, so just to mention. Coming back to Disney's Magic Kingdom now. There are more than 20 rides and attractions in Magic Kingdom, so you might not get to all of them in a single day. And during crowded times, which is apparently all the time, there will likely be long lines at the most popular rides. So if you've got some spare days to visit the park, well, maybe you would like to dedicate 2 complete days in total to this huge park. The Magic Kingdom wasn't Disney's first theme park, but as the heart of the sprawling vacation destination known as Walt Disney World, it's the most important of all the Disney parks around the globe. It's a bigger and busier version of the original Disneyland in California, with variations on many of the same attractions, and some original additions of its own. There are a couple of attractions that you should ride. Let me show you the map on this gigantic park first. So, all parks have a number of interest points. This one has 76 of them. You'll find subsections in the park grouped by colors. Here we've got Main Street, Adventureland, Frontierland, and so on. To spot the attractions, it's pretty easy. You just have to check the attractions sections for each subsection on the right and look for the corresponding number on the map itself. So far so good? To help you, I will give you some distances, just a sampling of how far apart things are in Disney's Magic Kingdom park. To set realistic expectations, keep in mind that you will for sure do a lot of backtracking in any parks. Plus, you need to add in the mileage just getting to the park gate. For instance, the walk from the Magic Kingdom bus stop just to the front gate is about a quarter mile. From the Magic Kingdom front gate to Cinderella Castle, you will need to walk 0.2 miles. From the Magic Kingdom front gate to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, you have 0.4 miles. From the Magic Kingdom front gate to Space Mountain, we have 0.4 miles. From the Space Mountain to Big Thunder Railroad, there is a 0.4 miles walk. Looping around Magic Kingdom Park will require a 1.6 miles walk. And finally, walking from the Magic Kingdom bus stop to the front gate, we're talking about 0.2 miles. So, you will walk and walk and walk all the time. Now I will give you the best attractions. It's my own recommendations, so feel free to do your own list of attractions and not follow my list. And I will start with the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is one of Disney World's most thrilling and popular rides inside an ancient mountain. You board a rustic diamond mine train from the Disney classic Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Here you will begin your ascent to the top of the summit, where you will be greeted with an incredible view of Fantasyland. But this tranquility is fleeting, because you then begin a wild ride down into the mine shaft as you swoop through hairpin turns. Hold on tight, because this is a bumpy ride. You soon encounter a merry band of seven dwarfs, singing and whistling as they labor. This is a high-priority Magic Kingdom family-friendly roller coaster ride if there ever was one. Space Mountain is one of the very best rides to ever exist at a Disney theme park. The basic concept of an indoor roller coaster in the dark, surrounded by stars and the vastness of space, as cool sci-fi music plays in the background, is definitely an all-time winner. Alas, the coaster feels bumpy and rickety, and the stars are dim and hard to see sometimes. Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover doesn't seem like much to a lot of people. Originally, it was less of a ride than an example of a potential mass transit system that Disney was working on. Disneyland shut its People Mover down in 1995. And Disney's other castle parks never had one, if you haven't ridden them before. Imagine a fleet of small trams on a conveyor belt that never stops moving. They whisk you throughout all of Tomorrowland, offering a glimpse of the other attractions in the area, including a nice preview of Space Mountain's Lift Hill. Peter Pan's Flight is a beautiful dark ride that flies you through the full story of Disney's Peter Pan aboard replica pirate ships. The nighttime view of London spreading out beneath you remains one of the most striking visuals in any Disney ride. And the Neverland portion is just as memorable. The only problem is the extreme lines you're likely to encounter, as this is always one of the most popular rides at the park. The Jungle Cruise has seen many changes over the years, but conceptually the experience has remained largely unchanged since the early 60s, when jokes were originally added to the spiel at Disneyland. That's the version that opened alongside the Magic Kingdom in 1971. Depending on your own definition of what is funny, you will like jokes or not. However, the entire package remains surprisingly charming. It's a quaint glimpse into the past, at the kind of family-friendly entertainment that our parents might have enjoyed when they were young, and hopefully a ride that will never change too much. Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress was an attraction that Walt Disney himself debuted at the New York World's Fair in 1964 and 1965. It opened in the Magic Kingdom in 1975 and has remained there since. The Carousel of Progress has four main scenes that take you through different periods of the 20th century. It starts in the early 1900s. The next scene is set in the 1920s. The third is set in the 1940s. And the final scene brings the family into the 21st century, given the time period the ride was created. Many have felt that as the years go by, the final scene in the 21st century has become outdated, but you're really lucky, because the final scene has recently received a brand new look. And because I am a nice guy, I won't spoil you in this video, showing you any footage or photo of the final scene. You will have to discover it all by yourself. Feelings I had inside of this carousel are hard to explain. When I first sat there, I was like, my god, it's gonna be boring. And honestly, I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, but it was smelling grandpa. However, from the beginning to the end, I've been really surprised and overwhelmed by some nostalgic thoughts. Pirates of the Caribbean is the attraction that the incredibly popular Pirates of the Caribbean movies are based on, which has now become the attraction that is based on the movies. The imposing fortress at the end of Adventureland is home to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, the few twists and turns in a darkened, cool underground cavern that leads to the boat ride. After a close encounter with Blackbeard and Davy Jones, you'll float through a cave that heads to a quick, dark plunge. Be on the lookout for Captain Jack Sparrow. He'll pop up from a barrel or peek from behind a mannequin. Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin is an Omnimover attraction in Tomorrowland. It opened softly on October 7, 1998 and officially opened on November 3, 1998. It uses a third-generation Omnimover system and our combination of a shooting gallery and a dark ride. The backstory of the ride revolves around the attempts of evil Emperor Zurg to steal the batteries used to power the space vehicles of the Little Green Men. You are a Star Command raw recruit sent to defeat Zurg. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is a beautiful synthesis of aesthetics and practical design choices. From the way the mountains that the track weaves through seem to have been there long before the ride was built, to how there's almost always a small detail or bit of visual storytelling to look at whenever the train isn't roaring hard through a turn or speeding down a hill. Big Thunder turns a roller coaster into an almost like journey through a specific time and place, making it a masterpiece of theme park design. Splash Mountain is a vivid phantasmagoria of audio-animatronic animals, unforgettable songs, and environmental storytelling, all based around Disney's adaptation of Joe Chandler Harris's versions of African-American folktales. It's a long, sprawling boat ride through a Georgia wilderness populated by dozens of adorable animal audio-animatronics, with a massive scare at the end in the form of a 50-foot drop. After that huge drop, you emerge upon a steamboat full of critters riotously commemorating your survival. In what might be my single favorite moment of any Disney ride today, the Haunted Mansion ride tells the story of a Black Widow bride and her many husbands. The special effects are terrific, especially the doors in the ballroom scene and the staircase scene, in typical Disney fashion. Attention is paid to the finest details. You'll notice something different every time you go on this ride. While not seriously frightening, you may want to think twice about bringing very young kids on this one. And now I will share with you some stats about my visit to Disney's Magic Kingdom. It doesn't necessarily mean you will have the exact same, but at least you will have a reference to compare with. I walked a total distance of 6.3 miles, or 10.2 kilometers. The temperatures were around 94 Fahrenheit, or 34.5 Celsius, and I did 17,000 steps during the day. My feet and legs were hurting a lot starting from the middle of the day. And here we go for the third day, day number 3. Generally speaking, I'm not a big walker, so let me tell you that my feet and legs were hurting a lot during the night. And I began this day being super tired and suffering from every part of my body. Animal Kingdom, Disney's fourth theme park in Orlando, opened in 1998, the extravagant Pandora. The World of Avatar expansion opened in 2017, adding a veneer of alien splendor to what was already the most beautifully designed park at Walt Disney World. Now I will give you the best Animal Kingdom's attractions that you need to ride. Again, it's my personal recommendation. Feel free to go to whatever attractions you think you would like more, okay? I won't take it personally if you do so. The first attraction I wanted to ride was the Kilimanjaro Safari. The main reason is that it's considered a famous attraction in Animal Kingdom and you would like to ride it as soon as possible in the morning. Also, the animals are in better shape in the morning than in the afternoon. Having seen thousands of stupid humans, you know, unfortunately it was broken. And here comes the main problem I faced during my trip. at Disney. Some attractions were broken. Overall, imagine Disney's classic Jungle Cruise but on a large truck, with real animals and less corny jokes, and you will sort of know what to expect. The lineup of African animals includes rhinos, giraffes, zebras and more, making it a must-do for the zoo lovers in your family. Dinosaur takes a great ride system that'll be familiar to anybody who's ridden Indiana Jones' adventure at Disneyland. And Tokyo Disney Sea and turns it into a trek back in time to explore the age of dinosaurs. It may not be as satisfying for adults as the Indiana Jones rides, due in part to an uninspired story featuring Felicia Rashad and Wallace Langham. But the bounty of dinosaur audio animatronics almost makes up for that. It's Tough to Be a Bug is a 3D show based on A Bug's Life, one of Pixar's most underrated movies. The show is nestled inside Animal Kingdom's central icon, the Tree of Life. Since the park first opened in 1998, the 3D show combines all manner of filmed and live special effects to create an immersive experience that every Disney fan should take in at least once. Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail features gorillas, hippos, meerkats, colobus monkeys, zebras and much more, including an aviary just packed full of birds. Feathered Friends in Flight show features a variety of birds from around the world, letting guests view their activities and behavior, while also detailing the various conservation efforts made to preserve these birds and their habitats. Kali River Rapids is a fairly basic river rapids ride that ends too quickly. It fills a valuable niche at the park, though, and features some fine-themed environments redolent of India, especially in the queue. Maharaja Jungle Trek is a walking trail featuring some of the most amazing environmental designs of any Disney theme park. That's already probably Animal Kingdom's greatest attribute, but it reaches its peak with this Indian-themed locale, which features tigers, water buffaloes, Komodo dragons and more. Avatar: Flight of Passage is definitely a great attraction that you have to ride. Well, if you can, of course. I've got a big story about this. Let me tell you, since opening to the public in May 2017, the wait times for this new 3D trail ride have peaked around 5 hours and hover around a minimum of 2 hours. And before waiting in line for this attraction, I had no clue about the popularity of it, and trust me, I discovered it the hard way. I waited a total of 2.5 hours to ride an attraction, literally falling apart. Yes, falling apart. This is an incredibly popular ride that has a long waiting line from opening till closing. Okay, let me show you the complete waiting line here. The base of the Caves of Pandora tells the story of it. The Na'vi hunters were the first to use it. From that base, you need to move towards the jungle. You will reach the research lab of humans who settled on Pandora. The laboratory reveals several experiments on wildlife and how it is evolving. And now you think that it's not so bad, right? That it's not long, right? It's like any waiting lines at Disney, right? When you spend 2.5 hours in it, it changes your perspective on it. Imagine spending 10 minutes doing this distance, then another 10 minutes for this distance, and so on. I was going crazy. Now, do you want to know the best part of it? After such a long wait, I was able to go inside of the first part of the attraction, a chamber room, to prepare for the flight, where you're supposed to sync with your avatar and get explanations. But it failed. There were a technical issue, and they asked our party of 16 people to go out. Then we waited another 10 minutes and then entered another chamber room where this time it worked. When the time for riding arrives, you move into a room containing 16 stationary bikes without pedals. Then you wear a pair of 3D glasses and ride the bike leaning as forward as possible. Padded restraints are then secured to your lower back and your calves during the flight. Speaking of calves, another thing that happened to me, or more precisely to the girl next to me. Apparently the girl wasn't able to insert her calves or knees or whatever, I don't know, into the padded thingy, and so the padded restraints couldn't be secured, preventing the ride from starting, not just for her, but for everyone in the room. It was super frustrating for her. She was feeling so bad about it, and unfortunately in the end, it didn't work. So she just gave up and left the room very upset. And I would have been in the exact same mood if I had to wait for 2.5 hours in line just for nothing. Zero. Also, the girl wasn't what I would call somebody with obesity, you know? I would say she was plumpness. So I ended up with the conclusion that an attraction opened in 2017 is suitable only for thin people. When are we? 1992? I mean, it's kind of shocking. Is Disney encouraging fat shaming? I hope not, that it will be such a shame. By the way, When I finished the ride and got out of the room, I saw the girl talking to a Disney guy, and apparently they offered her 2 Ultimate Lightning Lane passes, allowing her to ride any attractions without waiting at all. Even Guardians of Galaxy, where normally you have to join a virtual online queue to get in. In the end, I think she was very happy. And it's the main force of Disney. If they see that you are sad for any reasons, I mean reasonable reasons, right? Don't go there saying that you are not happy because it's raining outside. They won't do anything. But let's say if it's something resulting of their inability to deliver joys to you, they will do what it takes to make you happy. I will come back later on that point because other small issues happen during my Disney journey. To come back and finish on Avatar Flight of Passage, riders are seated closely, so you are free to reach out and touch the other if the need arises. And if you know them, of course, or it will be super creepy to touch a guy or girl you have never seen before. However, I encouraged you to experience this as a solo ride experience to avoid any distraction and really enjoy the ride. The Navi River journey is a short boat ride through a lusciously themed alien grotto. It ends with the most impressive Disney audio animatronic yet, a large Navi shaman with graceful lifelike motion and an uncannily expressive face. It's worth a ride simply for this state-of-the-art technology. I didn't ride this one because, I was too much frustrated after the 2 hours and a half waiting for the other Avatar attraction, but some friends who went there told me that it is a little bit too short and relies too much on projections, screens, and repetitive scenery before the bravura finish. So for this one, I let you make your own choice. And finally comes the Expedition Everest. This might be the most intense roller coaster at Walt Disney World, with the tallest peak and biggest drop, and the top speed just a hair slower than the Rock'n Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith at Hollywood Studios. The queue, which takes you through a travel agency with the Getty Museum, feels natural and lived in. It is a gorgeous, exciting roller coaster, and one of the best one at Disney World, so just ride it. And now I will share with you some stats about my visit to Disney's Animal Kingdom. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean you will have the exact same, but at least you will have a reference to compare with. I walked a total distance of 7.1 miles, or 11.4 kilometers. The temperatures were around 94 Fahrenheit, or 34.5 Celsius, and I did 18,999 steps during the day. My feet and legs were still hurting a lot at the end of the day. And here we go with the day number 4. Things with my legs and feet were really better this morning. Before going to bed, I took 2 Tylenol extra strength, and I was feeling great in the morning. No more pain. Today I'm going to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Woohoo! And then the drama happened. It was 7 a.m. I was prepping myself. Basically, I was going to the bathroom to take a shower. And then suddenly the fire alarm sounded. It was super loud. Let me tell you, if I hadn't already awoken, I would have been super upset. Then all guests had to leave the place, right? So I put on pants and went to the front of the hotel block where all the other people were. Then firefighters came. It seems that it was a false alarm and somebody activated the alarm by mistake. Shit happens, Then I came back to my bedroom, finished preparing myself, and when I went outside at the front of the hotel block, there were 2 guys in suits and ties who told me that they were so sorry for that. Let's come back to Disney's Hollywood Studio now. Despite this small issue in the morning, I was really excited because I was going to use for the first time a thing that wasn't there 10 years ago. The Skyliner, also called the Skyliner Gondola Transportation System. Man, I prefer Skyliner. Sounds more intimate. And don't ask me why they called it Skyliner Gondola. It makes me think more about a rowboat on the Venice canals personally. Anyway, the Skyliner opened in fall 2019 at Disney World Resort. It joins the many free transportation options you can already use as buses, ferry boats and monorails that take you around the parks, hotels and entertainment areas. The Disney Skyliner transportation system connects 4 Walt Disney World Resort hotels to both EPCOT and Disney's Hollywood Studios. The resorts with Disney Skyliner access are Disney's Pop Century, Disney's Caribbean Beach, Disney's Art of Animation, and Disney's Riviera Resort. So I used it and I had a great ride. I would even say that it's the first ride of the day before even getting to the park, and one where you just wait 5 minutes max to ride it. Compared to the real attractions, it's unbeatable. So the gondolas, sorry, I can't get used to this name. So the gondolas are not air-conditioned, but they feature the reflective panels to avoid direct sunlight and cross-ventilation windows that allow for airflow. So the trip is definitely comfortable. And finally, after 10 minutes in the air, I finally arrived at Disney's Hollywood Studios when it opened in 1989. The park focused on how movies were made. Its two major attractions on opening day were a studio backlot tour that took guests behind the scenes of a newly built studio that never really got to make all that much, and a beautiful dark ride about the history of movies that was perhaps a little too long and slow to become a real hit with the audience. Both the Great Movie Ride and the backlot tour had solid runs, but neither made it to the park's 30th anniversary in 2019. The park direction changed in 2008, and the park called Disney MGM Studios until then became officially Disney's Hollywood Studios. The park's focus eventually shifted from showing people how movies are made to making people feel like they were in their favorite movies. Now I will give you my favorite attractions at Disney's Hollywood Studios that you need to ride in priority before any others. And if you've got some time, well, you can do the others. Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular plays on our warm memories of the Indiana Jones movies, with its practical effects and elaborate set pieces that reconnect us with how movies used to be made, and with the park that Hollywood Studios used to be. Star Tours is more about the experience than interactivity. You can sit back and try to relax as the motion simulating roam bangs and tilts you through an adventure that mixes together a variety of settings and locations from the movies, despite tech upgrades and story tweaks. The Star Tours you can ride today is fundamentally the same one that opened in late 1989. It's still worth it and a very great experience though. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, opened in 2019, is a motion simulator like a souped-up version of Star Tours, instead of an anonymous shipping vessel. Though, you take control of a little ship called the Millennium Falcon, a spaceship that we never heard anything about, right? Right? Toy Story Mania isn't the best Toy Story ride, but it probably captures the tone and spirit of the franchise movies more than any other, like Space Ranger Spin. It's a dark ride built around shooting targets. Only this time the action happens on screens and in the style of old Carnival Midway games, which makes it feel more like a video game than a shooting gallery. And here comes a fun fact. Since 1998, Disney World has opened new Toy Story attractions exactly every 10 years. The first was Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin at the Magic Kingdom in 1998, followed by the similar but higher-tech Toy Story Mania that we just talked about at Hollywood Studios in 2008. And then in 2018, they built an entire Toy Story land around Mania called Toy Story Land. Slinky Dog Dash is a family-friendly roller coaster and the centerpiece of Toy Story Land, which was a much-needed addition to the park when it opened in 2018. You ride in a giant Slinky Dog as it coasts through a fairly easygoing track, with 2 launches and 1 full stop along the way, and a series of bunny hills that will keep you bouncing in your seat. You'll see a few Toy Story characters around the track, and it ends with a cute little gag where an animatronic of the Penguin Wheezy karaoke "You Got a Friend in Me" Aerosmith rock and roller coaster, opened in 1999, and is definitely one of my favorite attractions. It's a little bit weird this still exists today, almost 25 years later, knowing that it has been over 20 years since Aerosmith last had a top 100 hit, and also with the tragic real-life story of Aerosmith that everybody knows. It's still a fantastic roller coaster though, and one of the best and most intense at Disney World. It boasts a launch, 3 inversions, and hits up to 5 G-force, so it outranks Expedition Everest as the most thrill-powered coaster at Disney World. And the whole time it's blasting classic Aerosmith in your ear so you are totally immersed. If you are a Muppet fan, here comes the Muppet Vision 3D attraction. To be transparent, it's one of the few that I didn't ride, nor 10 years ago, just because I don't especially like Muppets. It's the last Muppet project Jim Henson worked on, and his last time voicing Kermit the Frog. It has all the charm and humor you'd expect from the Muppets, playfully riffing on the movie's 3D gimmick while also getting the most out of it. Then comes the first ride to ever star Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway consists of a series of scenes where pretty much everything goes wrong with our train falling prey to tornadoes, waterfalls, urban construction, and even an unexpected dance lesson from Daisy Duck. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is probably my favorite attraction. It is groundbreaking and amazing, and the most ambitious new Disney ride in a few decades. Rise brings together almost everything Disney attractions are known for. It's a masterclass in environmental storytelling and theme design that combines audio animatronics with celebrity cameos and real-life actors. Uses multiple vehicles, scenes, and ride systems to enhance the realism and keep guests engaged and surprised, and captures the thrills and excitement of the most popular film series of all time in an adventure that lasts for almost 20 minutes. And finally comes the original Tower of Terror, that doesn't just lift you up and drop you down an elevator shaft for a few minutes. Your freight elevator starts in one shaft before unexpectedly moving forward into a hallway where the Twilight Zone opening credits are recreated in real life in front of your eyes. You then lock into a second shaft, where all the lifting and falling happens. It all takes place within an immaculately themed abandoned hotel ripped right out of a horror film. It's one of the most beautiful spaces Disney has ever built, and it houses one of its absolute best rides. Unfortunately, Disney later developed a smaller, cheaper version of the ride with a single shaft and no dark ride segment. And that's what they built in California, France, and Japan. At the end of the day, coming back to my hotel room, I had a big surprise. Actually, the issue I had in the morning wasn't finished yet. Do you remember when I told you Disney is doing his best to ensure you are having a magical day? So Disney wanted to seriously apologize for the fire alarm that sounded very loudly in the morning. They offered me a bag with some candles and other things inside, and also a credit on my Disney account of $50. And well, it was such a surprise. Honestly, I wasn't expecting that much. And now I will share with you some stats about my visit at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I walked a total distance of 5 miles, or 8.1 kilometers. The temperatures were around 95 Fahrenheit, or 35 Celsius. And I did 13,455 steps during the day. Day number 5. It was now the time to go to Disney's EPCOT park. By the way, do you know what EPCOT means? Well, it means Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, and seems to have very exciting stuff. As I explained before, my hotel was connected through the Skyliner, so I went there using one of those gondolas, or whatever name is given to them, and it took me 20 minutes to get there, based on Walt Disney's unrealized dream of creating an actual, inhabited city based on utopian ideals and cutting-edge technology. When EPCOT opened, it was essentially a modern-day, park-sized update of Disney's Carousel of Progress, examining both the past and future of technology, communication, and society, with beautiful retro-futuristic buildings straight out of sci-fi films and the kind of endless enthusiasm over science that was already feeling quaint by the 80s. EPCOT felt like the nerdier but cooler older cousin to the Magic Kingdom. Part of the problem is that technology moves too fast for EPCOT to truly live up to its original purpose. Disney would have to update exhibits and attractions every few years to keep up with new advances, and that's cost prohibitive. And we have this feeling that some parts are really outdated, feeling reinforced by the fact they had it Guardians of the Galaxy there, because between you and me, it doesn't have anything to do with words like Experimental Prototype Community or Tomorrow. So yeah, it's a desperate attempt to revitalize the park. Now I will give you my favorite attractions at EPCOT that you need to ride in priority. Spaceship Earth ride showcases both the strengths and weaknesses of EPCOT's original mission. This trip through EPCOT's trademark geodesic sphere is a fascinating look at the history of human communication. From the dawn of language to the development of the printing press, Spaceship Earth is still a beautifully conceived marvel of audio animatronics and dark ride design. But it always feels a little bit outdated. The World Showcase Destinations Discovered Tour is a 4.5 hours walking excursion through 11 countries and 4,000 years of history, culture, and food. From the streets of Paris to the Bavarian countryside, you will visit different countries and see the architecture, landscapes, streetscapes, attractions, shops, and restaurants of 11 themed pavilions in Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, Italy, United States, Japan, Morocco, France, United Kingdom, and Canada. Nothing especially changed in 10 years there, but it's always cool to give it a visit, especially the Japan one, where you can find everything related to manga culture. Something I noticed though, one of the main amazing stuff is that each staff member is supposed to be an actual citizen from the country he belongs to. So I did the test. I went to Chef de France restaurant, which is a French family-friendly brasserie, and I asked the waitress at the front of the restaurant, "Je voudrais une table s'il vous plaît, à l'intérieur si possible, merci," which literally means, "I would like a table inside please, thanks." And she replied, "Sorry, I don't speak French." I was like, what the heck is going on? Why is she not replying in French? Test Track Ride was redesigned in 2012. The new version doesn't just run you through General Motors testing procedures for new cars. It lets you design an experimental car of your own, and then loads those specs into the ride to see how your car performs. You will reach speeds of up to 65 miles per hour along straightaways, navigate through rough terrain and bad weather, and speed around 50-degree turns. Mission Space is the attraction that you should avoid if you get motion sickness, migraines, or are claustrophobic. It's a giant centrifuge that simulates astronaut training for a future trip to Mars. Mission Space might sacrifice a bit of that ride's utopian elan, but it's definitely more exciting, and is still based in science and the future of exploration. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is the one of the newest rides at EPCOT, and certainly is among the park's best. The ride officially opened on October 1st, 2021, the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World Resort. It's a replica of the original Disneyland Paris attraction and is based on the Pixar animated film Ratatouille. Soarin' is a flight motion simulator attraction in the World Nature section. The attraction uses a mechanical lift system to raise you high into the air and to simulate a hang gliding flight. It also employs a 180-degree, 80-feet IMAX digital projection dome, and artificial wind and aromas to give you an authentic experience. Frozen Ever After attraction is a musical journey through a frozen willow forest. This slow-moving boat ride takes you to lands where you will encounter Kristoff's family from Troll Valley, and then to the enchanting icy blue lands of the North Mountain, and into Queen Elsa's Ice Palace. Living with the Land is a slow-moving boat ride classified as part Greenhouse Tour and part Dark Ride. The attraction aims to promote agriculture with an emphasis on new and environmentally conscious technologies. Here you will see how Disney World horticulturalists use innovative growing techniques like hydroponics and aquaponics to make gardening as efficient as possible. The American Adventure Pavilion is a 5-story colonial-style building in World Showcase. Here you will find an array of exhibits with paintings, flags, and artistic and historical artifacts telling the story of the United States. This attraction uses 35 audio animatronics figures, a massive 72-feet projector screen, and rousing patriotic songs to educate the public about America's history, and the best for the end now. Located in the park's newly renamed World Discovery neighborhood, Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind is the first Otherworld Showcase pavilion at EPCOT. This thrilling new family-friendly coaster matches the grandiosity and fun of the blockbuster Guardians of the Galaxy films, featuring those lovable cosmic misfits, Rocket, Groot, Drax, Gamora, and Star-Lord. Sandarians traveled from their homeworld in the Andromeda Galaxy to Earth, or Terra as they call it, to build this Wonders of Xandar pavilion, inviting EPCOT guests to learn more about their people and their advanced technologies. It's really an awesome experience and an attraction of a kind you have never ridden before. And because I'm so lucky, when I came back to my hotel, the Skyliner just broke. I'm not kidding. And it wasn't a small issue. I was stuck in the air for 15 minutes, just above the highway, and with a 42 degrees Celsius without air conditioning. Thanks Disney for that. Look, I took a video right at the exact moment it happened. When the Skyliner came back to life, I was tired and I was sweating. They gave us a bottle of water at the end. I went directly into my swimming pool, and trust me, I relaxed there for 2 hours in a row. And now I will share with you some stats about my visit at Disney's EPCOT. I walked a total distance of 5 miles, or 10.2 kilometers. The temperatures were around 96 Fahrenheit, or 35.5 Celsius, and I did 17,244 steps during the day. Day number 6. Why not go to the beach and tan under a wonderful shining sun, and taking a bath in a big swimming pool with a 45 degrees Celsius outside? It's a no-brainer, you know? So I went to Typhoon Lagoon and spent my day number 6 there. Crush and Gusher is a 400 feet long tube raft and coaster. Be prepared as some of the dips are rather steep, and some turns are just as thrilling, themed as fruit shoots. Guests have the chance to pick between pineapple, coconut, or banana. Surf pool is a massive wave pool, and the North America's largest wave pool. And if you've seen an aerial view of Typhoon Lagoon, you can't miss the surf pool on it. Kids, teens, and adults have the opportunity to enjoy the waves, which are slightly different in strength and size to different areas of the pool. During the day, a huge wave is produced in the swimming pool. It's really awesome. And in the end, you will just want to stay there the whole day to relax and enjoy these gigantic waves. This Adventure Falls, Typhoon Lagoon's newest water attraction, is a family-friendly water adventure that replaced the popular shark race. This Adventure Falls brings to life the story of Captain Mary Oceaneer, a treasure-hunting heroine who got stranded with her pet parrot at Typhoon Lagoon years ago by a rogue storm. You are transported in rafts to the top of the slide, and from the top, the water adventure takes twists, turns, and dips. Human the Cowabunga spits you out of Mount Mayday with a 5-story drop in a near vertical position. To make matters a little more thrilling, Typhoon Lagoon makes you do it in the dark. So yeah, 214 feet drop, 60-degree angle, in a totally dark, just awesome. Castaway Creek is a 2,000-foot-long lazy river with 5 different entry and exit points park-wide. You can be sure that Castaway Creek will take you wherever you want to go, even if that's for a lazy midday park nap. I personally spent a lot of time at the surf pool, both on the sun lounger and in the swimming pool itself. I've been really impressed by the huge wave of this pool, and I tried several times to brave it. Before giving you my day stats, let me give you some advice. Before you go to the Typhoon Lagoon Park, you are certainly welcome to carry backpacks, towels, coolers, and the like into Typhoon Lagoon. The problem is though, pretty much none of the Typhoon Lagoon rides allow you to bring carry-on items with you. Hopefully you've got lockers at the entrance of Typhoon Lagoon. It will cost you $8 for a small locker or $10 for a large. I would say a small one is enough for one bag and several things on the side, like snacks, a water bottle or sunscreen for instance. If you can afford a magic band, it will be slightly more comfortable than the hotel room key or card. Even if both are waterproof, some rides are really fast and involve your body directly sliding everywhere. So keeping your card in your swimsuit pocket. There's a risk you lose it and never find it. Also, you can leave the life jacket and personal flotation devices at home, because life jackets of all sizes are actually provided free of charge at multiple different stations throughout the park. I came back to my hotel early in the afternoon because, yeah, braving such huge waves in the surf pool literally drained all my energy. So I was coming back to my hotel room to have a nap around 3 p.m. and then I was really surprised and upset to hear a dog barking from the room next to mine. And I'm not talking about a small dog. It was a big dog, you know. It was super annoying as I wanted to sleep a little bit to charge my batteries, and I was like, shit, someone came with a dog at Disney World. Really? Are you kidding me? It's where I discovered that, yes, it's possible. Something that wasn't there 10 years ago is that 4 Walt Disney World Resort hotels are now dog-friendly. We're talking about Disney's Art of Animation Resort costing an extra of $50 per night. Disney's Port Orleans Riverside Resort with an addition of $50 per night, Disney's Yacht Club Resort with $75 per night, and finally cabins at Disney's Wilderness Resort costing $50 per night. A maximum of 2 dogs per guest room can be accommodated. Each guest room will have easy access to outdoor pet walkways for exercise and green spaces with pet relief areas. At 8:30 p.m., because I didn't have my nap in the afternoon, I was going to bed, but the guy next door was still barking and seemed to be really sad. I called the front desk and well, they weren't able to do anything about the dog itself. They proposed that I move to another room, a proposal that I refused because I was already falling asleep and, well, I wasn't ready to move all my stuff elsewhere. By the way, I finally decided not to move to another bedroom, as it remained only 2 nights there, and the dog finally calmed down later. And again, here's an example of Disney's willingness to make everybody happy. They didn't want to contact the dog owners, as it would create trouble in their day, and they proposed me to get another room so everybody can have a magical day in the end. Also, I learned the hard way that the Little Mermaid rooms are considered the pet section. It's important information for you. If you don't want to be surrounded by dogs and be placed in the animal shelter section, you should consider going to another section of the hotel resort. So keep this in mind. No stats for the Typhoon Lagoon, but It was super hot and I got sunburns everywhere on my body. And now come the spare days, where I'm able to come back to whatever park I want. On the day 7, I came back to Magic Kingdom, and on the day 8, I was at the Hollywood studio again. Basically, it's what I would call Joker time at the park, as you know them already and it's time to ride whatever you especially liked in the first place. For me, it was also the opportunity to ride new attractions. I didn't have the time on previous day. I've been able to go to Rise of the Resistance as there were too much people the last time, and I went again into the Space Fountain, Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, the Haunted Mansion, and the Tower of Terror. And here comes the day 9. It's a bonus day as it wasn't mentioned at the beginning of the video. It's basically the opposite of day 1. You take the bus back to the airport, Mears Connect, in my case, which was late for 30 minutes. Oh, it's something that you should be aware of. You can encounter any kind of issues on the road, meaning any steps of your travel from the park to your home and vice versa could be late. Try not to be too tight when you book your flight. For instance, keep some buffers here and there, so if the previous transport is late, you will have enough time to take the following one. I was sad to leave Disney and come back home. Yeah, really. Even if it was really physical, you are totally isolated from your daily routine at home and at work. You don't have to cook anything, to wash the dishes, you just relax and enjoy. Coming back to reality is actually a tough process that shouldn't be underestimated. Okay, and now comes the chapter of how to be efficient at Disney. I know that right now you're looking at me like, are we talking about work? And I will say yes, because Disney World isn't the exact definition of what I will call traditional vacations, meaning you're not there to lay down on a sun lounger and relax there, at least not all the time. As you already saw, during my trip there, I walked a lot. Just to be clear, doing all of the attractions or every places and corners of a specific park in a single day is simply impossible. Just forget that. Not getting to go on all of the rides of your must-do list or not feeling like you got to enough rides can make you feel like you didn't really get the full value of your day. And that can lead to disappointment for sure. So please, be prepared. It all comes down to having a plan. If you're a go-with-the-flow kind of person, be prepared to toss that out the window, at least for a little bit, to make your must-do happen before your vacation. Have everyone decide on 1 or 2 attractions that they really want to ride or see, put them all together, and you've got your list of must-do for the upcoming day at the park of your choice. Everything else that you get to ride should be then viewed as a big bonus. During the day, you will want to prioritize the rides on your list and get them done first. Once you've accomplished everything on your list, see what else you have time to visit. This way, you can feel good about how you spent your time in the park because you know you focused first on your top priorities. Then anything else you get to ride is like bonus icing on top of the cake. Sweet and fantastic, but not strictly necessary, focusing on those top rides and hopefully accomplishing them, rather than trying to bite off more than you can potentially chew, can help fight off those feelings of disappointment and instead leave you feeling satisfied. To ensure that everything on your list is possible to get done in one day, you will want to make a plan before your visit. I'm not saying you need a detailed itinerary that plans out every minute of your day. To help you accomplish that in a proper way, here are the 2 factors you should take into account. First, usual waiting time for the attractions you wanna ride. And second, where they are located in the park. I told you the different attractions that you should ride for each park, right? But it wasn't ordered in any way. Checking the location for each attraction to reduce the time needed to access them in the park is definitely the way to go, but shouldn't be the main factor in your final plan. It's what I will talk about right now. What is cool today, and that we didn't have 10 years ago, is the My Disney Experience mobile apps. And well, overall, you can do everything from the app, from booking a resort to buying park tickets or placing restaurant orders. You can even check in and open your room door with the app directly, and I found that really enjoyable. Also, if you plan your dining From the app, you can get many perks for your kids. However, some people told me it drained their mobile batteries. On my side, with an iPhone, I didn't notice that much. Do you remember the famous plan I was asking you to prepare with the waiting time and the locations of the different attractions? With the mobile app, you can do both at once. You will see everything displayed at a glance directly on the virtual map, and then you can determine what is the best decision to take while being physically in the park. Doing this that way will increase your efficiency and dramatically reduce the waste of your precious time. Another thing I recommend is to be sure you have the right gear for all this walking. That means good walking or running shoes, comfortable socks, and a way to track your distance. There are lots of free apps for your phone to track distance, or you can use a fitness tracker. Be sure to try out your new shoes and socks before you go on your trip. It's important to get some miles on them to ensure everything is comfortable and really working for you while you still have the chance to make adjustmts. Let's back in time. 10 years ago, access to every ride was included in the cost of admission to the parks. To experience expedited wait times for these rides, Fast Pass was initially introduced in 1999, and I used it a lot as you were able to use it twice a day to fast ride any attraction, popular or not popular ones. It was really cool, especially because it wasn't only reserved for people able to pay extra dollars. Unfortunately, since 2020, FastPass is not available anymore in its original format. It has been replaced by the Genie Plus program that you need to pay on a daily basis and that gives you access to almost all attractions. We're talking here about $15 a day per person. I said almost on purpose, as you will have to pay extra bucks to ride some in high-demand attractions, which have what we call individual lightning lanes. In a nutshell, attractions having their own separate fee and that are not included in the Genie Plus package are the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train with an extra cost of $10, Guardians of the Galaxy for $15, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance for $15, and for Avatar Flight of Passage, you will have to spend 11 extra bucks. I give you those prices as reference, as they are subject to changes. Also, the name FastPass doesn't exist anymore. No, it would have been too easy, you know? Now you have to say lightning lane, which is way more difficult to pronounce. Thanks, Disney. So the final question is coming. Would I recommend going to Walt Disney World? It's definitely a complex question, and I will try to answer it with honesty. Concerning things that made the trip less magical, let's say, is the discontinuity of Disney's Magical Express. I talked about this at the beginning of the video, and well, it was a big deception on my side. Also, the new program Disney Genie Plus and the removal of the FastPass Plus is not good news in my opinion, as it is unfair in the way that only rich people can access this. A fun fact about this is that when I was waiting in line, I caught myself saying, "Oh, look at these rich people passing before us," every time someone was taking the lightning lane at the attraction where I've been waiting for a long time. Another thing I haven't talked about yet about the Genie Plus, besides the price, which is $15 a day per person, is how it operates. At the opposite of FastPass, you can only get one selection at a time, and it cannot be used on the same ride more than once. Basically, and after having paid your Genie Plus for the day, you go on the mobile app. You can see the lightning lane availability for the different rides. Then you select the one you're interested in. Then the next selection you can do will be only 2 hours after your last lightning lane ride only. As an example, you go to Magic Kingdom and book the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad at 9 a.m. You ride it, then you book the next attraction at 11 a.m., so exactly 2 hours after. Let's say you wanna ride the Haunted Mansion now. The issue is that there is also a queue going on in the background for the lightning lane, and so people are filling this queue already, and you're not alone. Trust me. So coming back to our example, at 11 a.m. you could end up being able to book your next attraction, let's say, only at 2 p.m. which is 3 hours later, and so on and so on. So, as you can see, and it's clearly written on Disney's World's website, with Genie Plus package, you will be able to ride on an average of 2 or 3 more attractions during the day. At this point, I will let you determine if it's worth it or not. Combining that to the removal of the free magic bands, the extra magic hours removal and replacement by only 30 minutes in the morning, or the removal of great services like being able to send stuff you buy in shops to your hotel room. All of this gives the feeling that there are things only available for those who can pay top dollar. And when I went there, I also had the feeling that Disney wanted to get every single possible dollar from me and my wallet to get back all the cash they lost during the pandemic. You know what I mean?
Everything is alright. Nothing will last forever.
Also, something really frustrating is the lack or absence of entertainers in the park. I don't know if it was due to difficulties to hire people these days, the high temperatures, or just because Disney doesn't want to pay for it. But I didn't see any citizens of Main Street, and there were no characters at all walking among us on the main paths of the park. Some of them, like 2 or 3 princesses and Minnie Mouse, were available for photos at some places only. An exception, though, is Skyliner and Stormtroopers that were there among guests. It seems logical to me as Disney is investing a lot in Star Wars these days. I was also frustrated with virtual queues in general and how they can be one of the only ways to get onto a ride. It has been the case for Star Wars, Rise of the Resistance in the past, and it was the case for Guardians of Galaxy. In a nutshell, Guardians of Galaxy has 2 virtual queue options daily for regular park guests and 1 virtual queue option for deluxe resort guests during their extended evening theme park hours only at EPCOT. However, there is no standby line as it is totally replaced by the virtual queue system, so you cannot walk up and expect to get on the ride. The process for getting into the virtual queue is the same regardless of what time you try to access it. You will be able to access the virtual queue at 3 different times during the day, once at 7 a.m., once at 1 p.m., and once at 6 p.m. for extended evening theme park hours only. The process is really easy and all can be done through the My Disney Experience apps. So why am I saying it's frustrating? Not because of the process itself, which is, as I said, pretty easy throughout the app. It's mainly because it is an additional way of booking an attraction. There was already the traditional standby line, then they added the Genie Plus, and on top of that, now you've got the virtual queue. It brings different selection systems that are working differently from each other, and that you need to understand properly first if you want to master the whole process of just getting inside of an attraction. And it feels a lot complicated just for this specific purpose, you know? Also, prices are just crazy. It's difficult to compare the package prices of today and 10 years ago, as I went there in May for the first time and July, August for the second time. And so the prices were obviously lower in May. But just checking stats, back in 2012, a family of 4 would pay $276 for a one-day single park ticket. A decade later, 4 tickets cost $436. Also, if I compare the prices of goods that you can find in stores or food at the restaurants, I can say that prices had a significant boost in 10 years. Talking about food, even if you have an unlimited budget, chances are great you will finish at the different fast foods in the different parks. You've got fine dining restaurants everywhere. Yes, like the Cinderella's Royal Table, but it will cost you between $60 and $65 for your meal. So you will definitely think twice before going there. Fast food is cheaper, and for $16, $20, you will fill your belly without issue. But well, it's junk food. I guess for a trip of 8 days, it's okay. On a side note, the food from the restaurant inside of the hotel resort is not really better. It's still fast food. Don't expect to eat well there either. Finally, concerning stuff you can find in the different shops inside of the different parks, I was really surprised by the lack of books. And don't tell me that Disney's books don't exist. I can find them at my local bookstore or libraries in my city. I mean, kids like to read, right? At least some of them, and why not selling books? There are only toys there. Also, even if you can find unique toys at some places in the parks, like in the Star Wars place, for instance, all toys look the same to me, except at the Aerosmith store. T-shirts seem a little bit boring to me too, as they were 10 years ago. I think they could do better for that. And please sell books. Also, something that changed in 10 years concerns the alcohol you can find in the different parks. While alcohol has always been available in Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and EPCOT, this was not the case at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom, which originally had an alcohol ban, but things changed in the last few years, starting with the opening of the park's Be Our Guest restaurant, which was the first Magic Kingdom restaurant to serve alcohol. Fast forward to today, and you can find alcohol at all table service restaurants in the park. The biggest changes comes from the new lands and attractions themselves, and there have been numerous of them added to the parks in the last 10 years. Pandora, the world of Avatar in Animal Kingdom and Star Wars. Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios are perhaps the most impressive of the new lands to arrive at Walt Disney World. Hollywood Studios also welcomed Toy Story Land, and Fantasyland in Magic Kingdom doubled in size over the last decade. In Magic Kingdom, new attractions include Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Princess Fairy Tale Hall, Enchanted Tales with Belle, and Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid. In EPCOT, you can now enjoy Frozen Ever After and the revamped Soarin' Around the World. Hollywood Studios brought us Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Rise of the Resistance, Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, Slinky Dog Dash, and Alien Swirling Saucers. While Animal Kingdom introduced Kilimanjaro Nighttime Safari, Avatar, Flight of Passage, and Novi River Journey, introduced in 2012 under the name Photo Pass Plus. Memory Maker, as it's now known, is the way to take advantage of the hundreds of Photo Pass locations throughout Walt Disney World. Anytime you see a Disney Photo Pass photographer, you can stop for a family shot without wasting time trying to get that perfect Cinderella Castle selfie. If you purchase Memory Maker, you'll have access to all of your digital shots online, without having to buy each photo separately. On paper, it's a great thing, but it wasn't suitable for my specific needs, as I just wanted like 4 or 5 photos, and I didn't want to get photos with Disney PhotoPass professional photographers spread in the park, as I was sweating a lot, and so it would have produced so bad photos in the end. And that's the thing, you have access to your photos through 2 packages, one at $279 for your whole vacation, or $99 for all photos from one day only. Hopefully it's for the whole family, so the most expensive package is worth it if you are a party of 4. But being alone and for a few photos, it's not interesting at all. Downtown Disney, called Disney Springs today, has been revamped extensively in the last few years, and Disney Springs is now such a sprawling complex that you'll need a map to navigate it. It's divided into 4 different thematic areas: Marketplace, The Landing, Town Center, and West Side. I talked very quickly about it, but Magic Bands are not free anymore. You will have to pay an extra $14.99 to get one, or a $5 if you're a resort guest. The other option I recommend is to use your phone if it has an NFC chip on it, or your Apple Watch. It's free, and you can easily set up the feature from the My Disney Experience app. Something that is also very frustrating is that all the attractions are just breaking. It was the case for Avatar, it was the case for Rise of the Resistance, and even the Haunted Mansion broke. I was inside of the attraction and it just broke. And you hear someone saying, "Oh, okay, it will come back, we are on the case." But you wait there for 15-20 minutes, and after that the Skyliner is broken, and after that, so it's creating kind of bad feeling about it. The feeling that the park is old, some of the attractions are old, and that for some reasons they don't have any people to take care of the maintenance of these attractions. So it's something to consider also. If you go there, keep in mind that shit can happen and you can be stuck inside of an attractions for several minutes and maybe hours. On the other hand, no matter if you are not receptive to Disney World in general, once you get there, you will for sure have the wow effect. Everything is so huge, gigantic. It's a big and unstoppable machine, and your kids will find it awesome. On my side, and as an adult, I was surprised by some of the attractions, like the roller coasters with high sensations. I think I gave you everything you need to make your final decision to go there or not. Being in Florida, which is a paradise with high temperatures all year long, going there in March, April, or May and benefit from lower prices could be a good strategy, but depends on if you've got kids, if they can take days off from school on those specific months, and if you can take some vacations from your work too. I think Disney World is worth it for any family, as everyone will find something interesting to do. If your kids are grown up, and Mickey Mouse is not impressive anymore to their eyes, maybe you could consider going somewhere else, like at Universal for instance. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you. Bye.